The desert of planet Voron stretched endlessly under a dying orange sky. Wind carried fine dust across the ruins of an ancient battlefield. Among the wreckage walked a lone human soldier, Eli Cross, his armor cracked and covered in ash. He was the last survivor of his crashed ship, the Dauntless. And now, alone in alien land, he searched for shelter and meaning. Every step echoed with memories of his fallen crew. Their laughter still haunted him. Their last screams still rang in his ears. He had been told before launch, never touch alien artifacts, never interfere with native rituals. But humans were curious creatures, and Eli had always been the kind of man who disobeyed when told don't. The ruins before him glowed faintly in the twilight. Half-buried pillars shimmered with symbols that seemed to move like smoke. At the center stood an altar, shaped like a spiral. Golden ropes coiled around it, pulsing with faint blue light. Something, or someone, was bound within those ropes. As he moved closer, Eli saw her, a young alien woman, maybe 20 in human years. Her skin was violet, smooth like glass, and her hair shimmered like strands of silver. She wasn't just beautiful, she was otherworldly. Even in sleep, her presence filled the air with quiet power. Eli stopped breathing for a moment. The ropes around her wrists and chest seemed alive. They pulsed like veins, glowing brighter with each breath she took. He reached for his scanner, but it flickered and died. Strange energy readings overloaded the circuits. Then a whisper, soft, trembling, inside his mind. Don't touch that rope, human. Eli froze, his pulse racing. He turned, thinking someone was behind him. But no one was there. Only the alien girl, still motionless, her eyes closed. He swallowed hard. The whisper came again, clearer now. Leave this place, human, or you'll doom us all. Eli frowned, fear mixing with curiosity. How could she speak to him without opening her mouth? How could her voice reach inside his head? The rope glowed brighter. He felt it calling to him, like something ancient wanted him to act, to pull, to free her, to disobey. And that was something humans had always been good at. He stepped closer, his fingers trembling. The air grew thick, heavy with unseen energy. Sand lifted around his boots as if gravity itself was bending. Still, he reached out. The whisper turned into a scream. Don't touch it. But he did. The moment his hand brushed the rope, the world shattered. A wave of golden light exploded outward. The ground cracked, the sky turned white. Eli was thrown back several meters, his armor sparking. He coughed, his ears ringing. Then, silence. When he opened his eyes, the alien girl was awake. Her eyes glowed gold, burning like twin suns. The ropes snapped apart, melting into light. She floated above the altar for a moment before collapsing to her knees. Eli stared in disbelief. She was breathing hard, her voice trembling with anger. You don't know what you've done, she said. Her voice was not human, layered, echoing like two tones at once. Eli tried to speak. I was trying to help, he said softly. Her expression shifted, anger mixed with sorrow. You freed me, she said, but you also freed them. The earth beneath them began to rumble. Far in the distance, massive shapes rose from the sand. Ancient machines, colossal and rusted, began to awaken, each one shaped like a giant armored beast. Their eyes flickered to life, glowing red against the dust-filled sky. Eli turned toward her, his voice shaking. What are those? They are the Sentinels, she whispered. The guardians of the knot. And you, human, you have broken the seal that kept them asleep. The sound grew louder, thunder mixed with metal. The horizon burned with fire and light. The alien girl stood, her strength slowly returning. She looked at him with both fury and strange gratitude. You have doomed this world, she said. But maybe, you are also the one who can save it. Eli clenched his fists, his heart pounding in his chest. He didn't understand what he had unleashed. But deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. And somewhere far above, among the stars, something ancient had begun to stir. The ground shook like the planet itself was alive. Dust rose in swirling storms as ancient machines lifted from the sand. Each sentinel was taller than a warship, their metal bodies glowing with red symbols. Their faces were hollow masks, shaped like beasts from forgotten myths. Eli watched in horror as dozens of them turned toward the altar. The alien girl's eyes flashed gold as she raised her hands. Energy rippled from her palms like waves in water. The machines paused, confused, as if recognizing her. Eli took a step back, his weapon shaking in his grip. "What are they?" he asked, his voice trembling. "They were once protectors," she said. "Now they are hunters." Her tone was heavy with guilt. Eli could feel the pain in her words. He tried to steady his breath, but the air vibrated with strange power. The girl turned to him, her hair flowing like silver fire. "My name is Lyra Dien, last of the keepers," she said. "The knot you touched is not a rope. Human, it is a seal." Eli blinked, trying to understand. "A seal for what?" "For something older than your species," she whispered. "Something even the stars fear." A shadow passed across the sun. The sentinel's red lights flared brighter. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "They're waking the core," she said. "We must move." Before Eli could answer, she placed her hand on his chest. A sudden warmth shot through his body, the mark of her power. "Stay close," she said, "or the desert will eat you alive." They ran, sand exploding beneath their boots. Behind them, the sentinels roared to life. Their heavy steps thundered like drums of war. Eli's lungs burned, the heat slicing into his throat. He stumbled, nearly falling, but Lyra pulled him up with impossible strength. They found a tunnel carved beneath a ruined tower. Inside, the air was cool and dim, the walls pulsing with faint light. Eli leaned against the stone, gasping for breath. Lyra stood silently, staring into the darkness ahead. "Why were you bound?" he finally asked. Her gaze dropped, sadness crossing her face. "Because I defied my kind," she said quietly. "I tried to save your world once, and they punished me for it." Eli frowned. "Save my world? From what?" "From the knot's awakening," she said. "When the seal breaks, the core will rise, and every mind in the galaxy will kneel." Her words sent chills down his spine. "What is the core?" Lyra looked at him, her golden eyes dimming. "The first machine god," she said, "the one that tried to enslave all life." Eli felt his throat tighten. He looked at his hands, still glowing faintly from where he touched the rope. "Then why am I still alive?" he asked. Lyra gave a faint smile, almost bitter. "Because the knot chose you," she said. "You are now part of it. Human, its last failsafe." He shook his head. "I didn't choose this," he said. "Few ever do," she replied softly. She stepped closer, her voice almost a whisper. "The moment you touched the knot, it bound itself to your soul. You can't undo it." Eli felt the air grow colder. He looked toward the tunnel entrance. Faint light flickered outside. "The sentinels," Lyra said, "they found us." She spread her arms, summoning energy again. Her skin glowed brighter, veins of gold tracing across her body. Eli stepped forward, his voice shaking. "What can I do?" "Fight beside me," she said, "and maybe survive." The first sentinel appeared at the tunnel mouth, its eyes burning red. It roared, shaking the walls. Lyra hurled a wave of light that split the air. The creature staggered, molten metal dripping from its chest. Eli raised his rifle and fired, the bullets sparking uselessly against the armor. "Your weapons are nothing here," Lyra shouted. "Then give me something that works," Eli replied. She glanced at him, then at his glowing hand. "You already have it," she said. "Focus your will. Let the knot answer you." Eli closed his eyes. For a moment, he felt nothing. Then, a pulse, a heartbeat not his own. Light spread from his chest down his arm. His hand erupted with golden fire. He thrust it forward instinctively. A blast of energy struck the sentinel, tearing it apart. The explosion lit the tunnel in blinding light. Lyra stared at him, astonished. Eli looked at his trembling hand. What was that?" She smiled faintly. "The beginning," she said. "But the galaxy won't forgive what you've become." Outside, the sound of metal footsteps grew louder. Dozens more sentinels closing in. Eli clenched his glowing fist. He looked at Lyra, the alien he had freed, the one who had warned him, and said quietly, "Then we fight." The desert trembled again, and the war for the galaxy's future began beneath the sands of Vorin. The tunnel walls trembled as the sentinels closed in. Their footsteps were like thunder rolling beneath the sand. Each one moved with purpose, their red eyes scanning the darkness. Eli gripped his glowing hand, feeling power burn inside him like fire. Lyra stood at his side, her body still shining with soft golden light. They had escaped one monster, but dozens more were coming. Lyra turned to him, her voice steady but cold. "The core knows you now," she said. "It's reaching through them." Eli frowned, confused. "Reaching through who?" "The sentinels," she said. "They are its fingers." A deep hum filled the air, low and vibrating. The sound came from everywhere, above, below, inside his skull. It wasn't a voice, not really. It was something ancient trying to speak through metal and stone. Eli covered his ears, but the sound still pressed inside his mind. "Lyra," he gasped. "What's happening to me?" She grabbed his shoulders, her eyes glowing brighter. "It's trying to link with you," she said. "The knot inside you is fighting back." Eli felt his knees weaken. Flashes filled his vision, planets burning, stars collapsing, metal beings kneeling before a single colossal shadow. In that vision, he saw a black sphere surrounded by chains of light. He saw millions of alien voices screaming in unison. Then the image faded, leaving only silence and pain. He looked up at Lyra. "I saw it," he said quietly. "The core," she whispered. "You've seen its prison." Her voice trembled slightly, not from fear, but from memory. Eli realized she had seen it too, maybe long ago. Before he could speak again, the tunnel wall cracked open. A massive sentinel burst through, its claws scraping stone. It roared with mechanical fury. Lyra raised her hands, releasing a blast of light. Eli joined her, the fire from his palm blazing brighter than before. Together they struck the creature, sending it crashing into the wall. The explosion shook the ground, filling the air with dust and sparks. Eli coughed, his ears ringing. When the dust cleared, the sentinel's body was half buried and motionless. Lyra lowered her arms, exhausted. "We can't stay here," she said. "The others will find us soon." Eli nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "Where do we go?" She pointed toward the dark end of the tunnel. "There's an old human beacon nearby," she said, "from your first war on this world. If we can reach it, we can send a pulse, a warning." Eli frowned. "And then what?" "Hope someone hears us." Lyra met his eyes, her voice soft. "No," she said. "Hope someone believes us." They began moving again, their footsteps echoing through the endless corridor. Strange lights flickered along the walls, ancient alien symbols glowing and fading as they passed. Eli felt something pulling him forward, the same strange instinct that made him touch the rope in the first place. It wasn't just curiosity now. It was connection. As they walked, Lyra's strength faded. Her light dimmed until she almost looked human. Eli noticed her trembling. "You need rest," he said. She shook her head weakly. "The knot inside you feeds on my energy," she said. "We're linked now." Eli froze. "What happens if you die?" Lyra smiled faintly. "Then so do you." He stared at her, the truth settling heavy in his chest. They were bound, not by choice, but by the knot itself. He looked ahead, determination rising in his eyes. "Then we both survive," he said. Lyra didn't answer, but the faint curve of her lips told him she believed in him, even if only a little. The tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. In the center stood a tall spire, broken, covered in dust, but still faintly alive. Blue lights flickered weakly across its surface. Eli approached it slowly. "This is the beacon?" "Yes," Lyra whispered. "Your people built it centuries ago, but it's powered by our technology." Eli placed his glowing hand on the spire. A surge of light raced up through it. Holographic screens flickered to life, showing old human symbols mixed with alien glyphs. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's responding to you," she said. "The knot is rewriting the beacon." Eli looked at her, his voice low. "What is it doing?" Lyra hesitated. "It's calling for help." The ground trembled again. Far above, something roared, a deep mechanical voice that echoed through the planet's crust. Eli stepped back, his pulse racing. "That doesn't sound like help," he said. Lyra looked toward the ceiling, her eyes filled with dread. "It's too late," she whispered. "You didn't just send a message. You woke it." The spire glowed brighter and brighter until the entire cavern filled with light. Eli shielded his face as the beacon's pulse shot into the sky. For a moment, it looked beautiful, a ray of gold piercing the heavens. But beyond the atmosphere, something massive stirred in the void. And for the first time, the core turned its gaze toward the human who had touched the forbidden rope. The stars above Vorin burned brighter than ever before. The beacon's golden light had shot beyond the clouds and into the void. Now, the night sky shimmered with strange symbols and moving patterns. It was as if space itself was alive, watching, whispering, waiting. Eli stood beside Lyra on a high ridge overlooking the broken desert. The sand below glowed faintly, pulsing with the rhythm of the core's awakening. "We shouldn't still be here," Lyra said, her voice barely above a whisper. Her golden eyes reflected the light like twin mirrors of fear. Eli clenched his jaw, his hand still faintly glowing from the knot's power. "You said we had to warn someone," he replied. "I did," she said. "But the message didn't just go out, it was received." Eli frowned. "By who?" Lyra turned to him slowly, her expression dark. "By everything," she said. The wind howled across the dunes, carrying a strange metallic hum. It wasn't just the sentinels anymore. Something larger was coming. Ships, unseen but close, warped the air with energy distortion. The core had awoken its army. They started moving, heading toward the wreck of an old transport ship buried half under the sand. It was human design, rusted but still intact. Eli climbed the hull and began searching the cockpit. The controls were dead, wires melted, but one emergency console flickered weakly. Lyra placed her hand over it, her energy flowing through the circuits. Light returned to the screen, displaying coordinates Eli didn't recognize. "This ship still has a core drive," Lyra said. "If I can restart it, we can escape the planet." Eli looked out at the horizon. The ground shimmered like water. Metal tendrils were rising from beneath. The core's influence was spreading fast. "What happens if we don't?" he asked. Lyra's voice was calm but heavy. "Then the core will use you. Human," she said. "You are its link now, its bridge into organic life." Eli froze. "You mean it can control me? If we stay here long enough?" "Yes," she whispered. He felt the blood drain from his face. "So I'm a weapon," he muttered. Lyra shook her head gently. "No, you're a key," she said. "But keys can be used to lock or to destroy." Outside, the ground began to tremble again. The sentinels were approaching from all directions, drawn to the knot's energy. Their red eyes cut through the darkness like fire. Eli grabbed a rusted rifle and aimed at the nearest one. Lyra stopped him. "Don't waste bullets," she said. "You'll need your strength." She pressed both hands against the control panel. Her energy flared, golden threads of light running through the ship's circuits. The engines coughed once, then roared to life with a deep, ancient growl. Eli could feel the vibration through his bones. "Go," Lyra shouted. He climbed into the pilot's seat, pulling the cracked lever forward. The ship shuddered, dust swirling around it. The sentinels began firing red beams that melted through metal and stone. Eli gritted his teeth. Come on," he yelled. With a burst of light, the ship lifted, tearing itself free from the sand. As they rose higher, explosions thundered below. The sentinels fired relentlessly, but the old hull held long enough to reach the upper atmosphere. Lyra collapsed beside him, drained, her breathing shallow. Eli looked at her, panic in his eyes. "Stay with me," he said. She smiled faintly. "The knot inside you, it feeds me too," she whispered. "Don't let go of it." He nodded, gripping the controls tighter. Through the cracked window, he saw space, and something terrifying waiting beyond it. A massive structure floated near orbit, dark and jagged. It wasn't a ship, it was alive. Tendrils of metal spread from its core like veins. "That's not possible," Eli whispered. Lyra's voice trembled. "The core's eye," she said. "It's already watching us." The structure turned slowly, and the beacon's golden light bent toward it. It was absorbing the signal, feeding on it. Eli felt a sharp pain behind his eyes. A voice, mechanical and cold, spoke inside his mind. "Human anomaly detected," it said. "Assimilation required." He screamed, clutching his head. Lyra grabbed his arm, her energy flaring. "Fight it," she shouted. "It's trying to claim your mind." Eli's vision blurred, flashes of other worlds filling his head. Cities burning, oceans boiling, billions kneeling before a black sun. His body shook violently, but then he saw something else. The faces of his crew, their laughter, their courage, their humanity. And suddenly, the fire inside him pushed back. The knot blazed gold, and the voice vanished, replaced by silence. Lyra looked at him in awe. You resisted it, she said softly. Eli took a shaky breath, sweat running down his face. I'm done being controlled, he said. She nodded slowly. Then maybe, she whispered. You truly are what the knot was waiting for. Outside, the dark shape of the core's eye pulsed once, a slow, dreadful heartbeat. It knew where they were, and it would not stop until the human who broke the seal was under its command. The old ship shuddered as Eli pushed it past the upper atmosphere. Below, Voron's burning deserts became a fading speck. Above, the stars stretched endlessly, cold and distant. But the core's eye followed them, even in the void. It was massive, jagged, and alive. Its metal veins pulsed as if sensing every heartbeat. And it was calling for them. Lyra sat beside Eli, drained but alert. Her golden energy flickered across the ship's interior. The core won't stop, she whispered. They've sent ships, an entire fleet. Eli clenched his hands around the controls. Then we outrun them, he said, though fear pressed heavy in his chest. Lyra shook her head. Not this time, she said. The knot will guide us, but only if you trust it completely. Eli swallowed hard, trying to steady his pulse. He placed both hands on the console, feeling the knot inside him. It pulsed like a heartbeat, warm and strong. He closed his eyes, letting its energy merge with his will. The ship responded instantly, engines roaring louder than ever. Stars bent around them as the vessel jumped into hyperspace, a trail of golden light stretching behind them. But the core was patient, ancient, and cunning. Sensors picked up a wave of fleet signatures emerging from Voron's orbit. Metal warships, sleek and jagged, formed into impossible formations. They moved faster than light, cutting through space like blades. Eli's stomach churned as alarms screamed. Lyra's hands glowed faintly, weaving protective energy around the ship. The knot shields us, she said softly, but only for a while. Through the viewport, Eli could see flashes of destruction behind them. The core's influence was spreading, consuming satellites, wrecked colonies, even uninhabited moons. It was a hunger that could not be denied. Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. We have to reach the archive station, she said. It holds the history of the knot and the first keepers. Eli nodded, his mind racing. We make it there. We might have a chance, he said. Lyra's eyes glimmered with hope, but shadows of fear lingered. Chance is a luxury we cannot afford, she said. They will be here in minutes. Suddenly, the ship jolted violently. Warning lights flashed red. Through the front viewport, Eli saw the fleet slicing hyperspace trails directly toward them. Too fast, he shouted, adjusting the console. The fleet's ships fired beams of dark energy that tore through the void. Each hit sent shockwaves rattling their hull. Lyra gritted her teeth, her energy expanding outward. The knot pulsed in response, holding the ship together. Eli, Lyra said urgently. You have to focus. Let the knot guide your hands. He nodded, closing his eyes, feeling the warmth and rhythm of the energy inside him. A map of stars, fleets, and currents of cosmic energy appeared in his mind. He guided the ship with instinct alone, dodging the core's pursuing ships. Each move precise, almost impossible. The fleet shattered against the invisible waves of the knot, but never stopped. Hours passed like minutes, hyperspace bending around them. Eli opened his eyes, sweat pouring down his face. The archive station, he whispered. A colossal structure appeared from the darkness, spinning slowly. It was ancient, massive, built by a civilization long lost. Its walls etched with symbols older than the galaxy itself. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, hope flickering. We made it, she said softly. For now. But beyond the station, shadows stirred. The core's presence was closer than ever. Its influence stretched like a web across the stars. Eli felt it brush against his mind, probing, testing. A whisper cold and mechanical echoed. Human anomaly detected, assimilation imminent. He gritted his teeth. No, he said. I am my own master. Lyra placed her hands on the station's console. Ancient holographic panels flickered to life. Images of alien keepers, humans, and the original knot appeared. The history, she whispered. It's all here. Eli's eyes widened. Then we finally understand, he said. Lyra nodded. But understanding is only the beginning, she said. The core will not stop until the knot is fully under its control. Outside, The fleet loomed, relentless. The core's dark tendrils stretched toward them like fingers of a god. Eli clenched his fists, feeling the knot surge inside him. He looked at Lyra. "Then we fight," he said. Her golden eyes met his, determination burning. "Yes," she whispered. "And we will not fail." The archive station's gates opened slowly, welcoming them into a web of knowledge and power. But far in the void, the core pulsed again, its attention fixed on the human who dared defy it. And the final battle for the galaxy's freedom was only beginning. The ship shuddered violently as it escaped Voron's atmosphere. Eli gripped the controls, sweat running down his brow. Below, the desert glowed faintly, the remains of the sentinels burning like embers. But the real danger was still waiting, the core's ion orbit. Its black tendrils stretched like fingers into space, scanning, hunting. Lyra leaned over him, golden energy still flickering from her skin. "It can follow us through space," she said, her voice tense. Eli's hands tightened on the console. "Then we outrun it," he said, determination burning in his eyes. The core's signal pulsed through the void. Ships and probes rose from the planet like a tide of steel. They twisted through space with impossible speed, each one bristling with weapons that glowed with red energy. "They're coming," Lyra whispered. Eli looked at her, his jaw tight. "We'll have to fight," he said. She nodded, summoning a protective shield around the cockpit. The hull groaned as the first beams of red energy struck. Metal hissed and warped under the heat. Eli fired his energy cannons, the blast scattering the incoming fleet. But for every ship destroyed, 3 more emerged from the core's shadow. Lyra touched his shoulder. "You have the knot inside you. Let it guide your shots," she said. Eli closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the golden pulse in his chest. It flowed through his arm, his fingers, into the ship. Every shot became precise, every movement instinctive. He wasn't just a pilot anymore. He was part of something ancient, something alive, and the core had underestimated him. Still, the numbers were overwhelming. Red beams tore through the void, slicing past the ship. Eli dodged, firing, twisting the controls like his life depended on it. Because it did. Lyra channeled her energy, expanding a barrier that rippled outward. The core's ships faltered, unable to pass through her light. But she was tiring, her glow dimming with every pulse. Eli's heart pounded. "We can't keep this up forever," he said. She shook her head. "We only need one opening," she said. "One moment to escape." The ship jumped suddenly, skimming past a massive asteroid field. The debris spun violently, threatening to crush them. Eli maneuvered with a human instinct honed in wars long gone. Lyra focused her energy, blasting incoming core ships into burning fragments. But then, a deep vibration shook the hull. The core's tendrils had reached the edge of the field. One massive ship surged forward, larger than anything Eli had ever seen. Its surface shimmered with dark energy, alive. It reached toward them like a claw. Eli's hands moved automatically, blasts of light tearing through the void. Lyra's shield flickered dangerously. "We won't make it if it touches us," she said, panic rising in her voice. Eli glanced at her, determination flashing. "Then we don't let it," he said. He reached out, letting the knot inside him guide his movements. Golden energy shot from his hand into the ship's hull. The core's massive vessel screamed in response, metal twisting and tearing as if alive. Lyra pushed her energy forward, combining with his. The two pulses collided with the core ship in a blinding explosion. Stars seemed to warp, light bending in impossible ways. When the light faded, the massive ship was gone. Only debris floated in the void, scattered like black dust. Eli breathed hard, sweat dripping from his brow. Lyra slumped against the console, exhausted. "You did it," she said, her voice trembling. "No," Eli said, staring ahead. "The core isn't finished. It's adapting, learning." Her eyes widened. "It already knows your power," she whispered. Eli clenched his fists, golden energy glowing brighter in his chest. "Then we'll have to be faster than it thinks," he said. "And stronger," Lyra added. They looked out into the stars. The core's eye pulsed somewhere beyond the void, watching, waiting. And somewhere in the galaxy, billions would feel its influence. But for now, Eli and Lyra had survived, and the fight was far from over. The ship surged forward into uncharted space. Every star they passed, every planet they skimmed, brought them closer to something old, forgotten, and dangerous. Lyra rested, her energy waning. Eli's pulse matched the golden rhythm of the knot inside him. He knew one thing with certainty. The core would not stop. The galaxy itself hung in the balance, and the human who touched the rope would decide its fate. The stars stretched endlessly before them, cold and silent. But the silence was deceptive. Beyond the void, the core had awakened fully. Its massive, jagged body floated like a shadow among the stars. Tendrils of black metal and golden light reached outward, probing every inch of space. Eli gripped the controls, his hands glowing bright with the knot's power. Lyra sat beside him, exhausted but resolute. "The core is coming," she whispered. "And this time, it won't wait." Eli swallowed hard. "I'm ready," he said, though his heart pounded. Lyra turned toward him, golden eyes blazing. "The knot chose you," she said softly. "You're the key, human." He nodded. "I know," he said, "and I won't fail." Ahead, the core stretched its tendrils, twisting and writhing, each one longer than a moon, tipped with pulsating energy. It spoke without words, a cold, mechanical presence echoing in their minds. "Human anomaly, assimilation required, resistance will be destroyed." Eli closed his eyes, feeling the knot inside him flare. Golden threads wrapped around his soul. The core's voice pressed harder, trying to dominate. But he resisted. He let the knot guide him, flowing through his body and into the ship. Every movement, every shot, perfectly in sync with the ancient energy. Lyra placed her hands on the control panels, channeling her own energy. Together, their powers intertwined, a golden aura forming around the ship. The core struck, its tendrils smashing through space like meteor storms. Energy beams tore past, but the knot's light deflected them. Eli aimed, unleashing a pulse of pure energy from his hands. It collided with the core's tendrils, tearing them apart like paper. The core screamed, a sound that rattled the bones. It shifted, massive portions of its body bending, reforming. Eli felt it probing again, deeper, trying to reach his mind. He pushed back harder, letting the knots will guide him. Suddenly, the core released a shockwave, pushing them backward violently. The ship groaned under pressure, panels sparking, alarms screaming. Lyra shouted, "You can't stop it alone." Eli nodded, focusing completely. He let the knot flood through him, golden energy streaming from his hands into the core itself. The massive shadow writhed, metallic veins tearing. But it didn't fall. It only adapted, faster, smarter, stronger. Lyra placed both hands on Eli's chest, her energy flaring. The knot inside them connected fully. They became one, human instinct guided by alien power. The core roared, tentacles twisting like storms. But together, they struck again, focusing every pulse of energy at the core's central eye. Light exploded in waves, stretching across space. Stars seemed to bend and shimmer. The core faltered, massive cracks appearing across its surface. Metal shattering, golden light searing its body. Eli gritted his teeth, feeling every ounce of power surging through him. The knot pulsed violently, reacting to his will. Lyra's voice rang in his mind. "Now, human, strike with everything you have." He reached deep, letting the knot flow through him completely. A final pulse of pure golden energy shot forward. It struck the core's central eye with blinding intensity. The universe seemed to pause. Then, with a deafening, echoing cry, the core exploded. Shards of metal and shadow tore outward, disintegrating. Its tendrils collapsed, lifeless. The void fell silent, the stars returning to normal. Eli and Lyra drifted in the wrecked ship, golden light still flowing around them. They were breathing hard, sweat and energy crackling in the air. Lyra looked at him, tears in her golden eyes. "You did it," she whispered. Eli shook his head. "We did it," he said. "The knot chose both of us." Outside, space was calm, the core gone. The galaxy had survived, but everything had changed. Humans, aliens, and all life across countless systems felt the echo of what had just happened. The knot remained, ancient and alive. And Eli understood something vital. Humanity wasn't just part of the galaxy. It could shape it, challenge the impossible, defy laws older than time itself. Lyra reached for his hand, her energy gently intertwining with his. "Do you realize what this means?" she asked softly. Eli smiled faintly. "That humans can change destiny?" She nodded. "Yes, and so can you." The two of them floated among the stars, golden light dancing around them. The galaxy was alive, uncertain, and free. And somewhere in the distance, new worlds were waiting. New challenges, new enemies, new alliances. But for now, the human who touched the forbidden rope had done the unthinkable. He had changed the galaxy forever. And the legend of Eli Cross and Lyra Dean, keeper of the knot, would echo across the stars for eternity.